I'm going to spoil something right off the bat with this review. This tablet really impressed me, and you guys know I'm kind of picky. This is my review for the Deco Pro from XP-Pen. It's available in two sizes. There's a small and a medium. I reviewed the medium for this review. And this is a non-display drawing tablet, so it's comparable to like the Intuos line from Wacom, which means you draw on the tablet, but you're looking at your screen, you're looking at your monitor. These sort of tablets don't seem to get as much attention as the big, sexy display tablets do, but this is the kind of tablet that I started on and used for something like 11 or 12 years before I ever switched to a display tablet, which was only about 3 years ago, I think. So don't ever let anyone tell you that you have to have a $2,000 tablet to make comics. So this is XP-Pen's, I think, their top of the line non-display drawing tablets. They also make some like the Artist 15.6, which I reviewed not too long ago. I will link that in the description. And the Deco Pro has this thing they call the double wheel. And the inside is actually interactive, this kind of rubbery surface you're seeing here. And the outside ring also turns. This is like a mechanical wheel here. So this wheel actually physically turns, whereas this is sort of a round touchpad. It also has 8 different express keys, which are all completely customizable. And the wheel is as well. And this really kind of sets it apart from a lot of the tablets I've seen in this price range. I was able to map this ring to a number of different functions in Photoshop. You could set it to zoom in and out, you could set it to adjust your brush size, and because you can actually enter your own custom shortcuts to use this, I was actually even able to set this up to switch between layers, which is not something I really ever thought about doing, but I think it's interesting, and it just kind of shows that it's a highly, highly flexible tablet. And especially if you're looking for a workflow that doesn't necessarily use the keyboard as much, you could custom map all of these keys to whatever you want them to be and maybe not have to use the keyboard quite so much. And even though this is considered the medium, it feels large, but actually what you'll notice, and you can see in some of the pictures here, but these little markings, you can barely see in the video. I'll show some better footage of this, but they light up, and that's actually the active area for using the tablet. Which is kind of cool. So that just means you have a little bit of a bezel around the drawing area, which is actually pretty comfortable. I think it's actually more comfortable than my Intuos, which, you just draw to the edge and then that's it. So this gives you a little bit of space to sort of rest your hand if you wanted to. It also included the adapters to go from like a MacBook that only has USB-C into the tablet itself, because the port on the tablet is also USB-C. That actually costs more to implement. It costs more to the manufacturer to implement. There's some more stringent standards on USB-C. So that impresses me. There's a lot of lower end tablets, even tablets that are more expensive than this, that don't really have that as an option. It's still using like a mini USB, or you've got to get adapters and converters and things. And of course the tablet works with Windows or Mac like most people would expect. But the crazy thing is it also works for Android, which I didn't know when they sent me this tablet. Now, me personally, I don't really have a need to draw on an Android device, but if you had like a bigger Android tablet or a big phone, yes, technically you could draw straight into the phone with the device itself, with this tablet, which is pretty cool and different. And the pen that it comes with is the one that XP-Pen calls the PA1. There's no battery, there's nothing to charge, it works just like the Wacom devices do. And the pen is inspired by Wacom's design here a little bit, I think. And as far as the specs, really the only thing that I'm looking for is the pressure sensitivity, and it has the 8192, which seems to be pretty much the standard on any decent tablet you're buying these days. And as far as what's in the box, you get the tablet, you get the stylus, of course. There's a holder for the stylus that also includes 8 nibs. There's the USB-C to USB cable. There's an adapter for USB to USB-C, and an adapter from USB to micro USB. You get the drawing glove, of course, is super important, and the quick guide. One thing that I appreciated was that there is a PDF included with all the materials that actually walks you through all the settings you need to change on. In this case, I was using a Mac. I don't know if on Windows if it involves quite as much setup, but there was a couple of things you had to do in the security settings and allow certain things on the Mac in order to get it working. So I went through all the instructions step by step, and it worked immediately, which that's what I want to see. Like I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time troubleshooting. So as far as things that I really liked, very well constructed. It feels very solid. I like the colors. It just doesn't look like most of the other tablets that you'll see out there on the shelves. The software was very intuitive, which is usually a sticking point for me on some of these kind of, I really don't want to say second tier tablets, but a lot of people just think that it's Wacom and iPads and then everything else is secondary. What I found is a lot of those kind of secondary tier tablets, the software is usually the problem. I really didn't see anything in the software that was a problem with this one though. The only sticking point that I had, and after a restart it stopped doing it, was sometimes setting up certain keyboard shortcuts, it's like it wouldn't quite save in the settings, and I'd have to go back and put it back in. That only happened once or twice throughout all the testing, so I don't think it's a huge issue, and it might just be a thing on the Mac. But the setup, installation, all that went really smoothly. Pressure curve is super smooth. It was very precise. It's doing all the things that I would expect the tablet to do. I didn't notice any weird quirks or any jittering. And once you get all your settings set up, one of the things that I like was you can actually just export those settings and save them. So if you're in the process of ever having to reinstall anything or set things up, you can just re-import your configuration file and not have to worry about setting all this stuff up again. And to be perfectly honest, I think if I wasn't neck deep in deadlines right now, I would probably switch this out with what I'm currently using on my desktop, which is an Intuos Art Medium, which is actually a more expensive tablet even today than this XP-Pen. This is the tablet that is currently connected to my desktop. It's an Intuos Art Medium Pen and Touch, old version. This was purchased back in 2017 after I had driver issues with my Intuos 2. When I purchased this, it was $200. There are only 4 express keys, and that's pretty much it. Now, I'm not really big on using these myself, but I know some people do. They're in a weird layout. They're in the corners of the screen on each side. So if you're left-handed or right-handed, either way, you're having to reach across the tablet, which is kind of a strange decision. If you're someone that uses those keys, I don't. I use a keyboard almost exclusively, so I didn't really have any need for anything other than a working tablet, which is why I bought this one. Even now, this one's $165. And if you look at this XP-Pen Deco Pro medium, we've got the 8 express keys, we've got the double wheel. You actually have a larger drawing area because, let's see, the Wacom is 8.5 by 5.3 in the version that I have, and the working area on the XP-Pen is 11 by 6. And you're like, well, that's not fair. Wacom's got a new version of this. Well, that's true. Let's go look at it. This one is still $175 and 8.5 to 5.3 inch drawing area. Whereas the XP-Pen, like we said, is 11 by 6. So you're getting a larger tablet, you're getting more keys, and you're getting the wheel, and everything else, to me, pretty much feels exactly the same. So for the first time in a long time, the first time ever, if someone asked me today, hey, I just want a drawing tablet, nothing fancy, I'm a beginner, whatever. Even if you're not a beginner, though, like I think this is my new recommendation for anyone that's if you're not interested in a display tablet or you don't have the budget for a display tablet. I think this is the way to go because it's very flexible. It'll connect to pretty much anything except an iPhone. Apparently, iOS devices. All the specs are up there, pretty much as good as you can get. The pen does have tilt, which I don't really consciously use that much. Maybe I do and just don't really think about it. But it does have 60 degrees of tilt function. And actually going back and looking at this a little bit closer, the Wacom at this price point only has 4096 levels of pressure sensitivity. So the XP-Pen is actually double on the pressure sensitivity. And it's double the LIP, whatever that is. That must be good. I think it's a resolution thing, like how closely it tracks your pen. So anyway, as you can probably tell, I'm not really a professional reviewer. I do these every now and then. This channel is usually coloring tutorials. So I will link to Brad Colbo's, I think is how you say his last name. I'll link to his video reviewing this tablet as well, because he does a better job than I do, honestly. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will link to some other stuff around here for you guys to watch, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.